The current state of affairs in St. Lucia finds us at our darkest moments in the governance of our country under this government. And in the words of Aristotle, it is in our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Today, I have to say that it is very disappointing, but not surprising, that Honorable Philip J. Pierre continues to put politics first and has not kept his promises to the people of St. Lucia. After 100 days, Mr. Pierre has failed miserably to deliver on the numerous campaign promises expressed. First, while in opposition, he said that the gas tax was way too high and that fishermen were not using the road and should not have to pay, and so an SLP government would remove the burdensome gas tax on fishermen. This is what he said in his campaign promises, that he will remove the gas tax because it was too burdensome on the fisher folks of St. Lucia. They have been meeting with the fishermen, and even this past week, they met with the fishermen of Soufrière. No mention was made of the removal of the gas tax to the fishermen. What has changed, Mr. Prime Minister? It is over 100 days now, and the fishermen are waiting for the removal of the burdensome gas tax. Today, we see that words of political trickery and deception skillfully administered during the campaign are not the best therapy for the people of St. Lucia. Ladies and gentlemen, political promises and vows were made during the campaign between candidates and voters to win votes. But now, how quickly the SLP government have forgotten and failed to honor them. Mr. Pierre, while preaching on the political platforms, said that the government was withholding the people's money in income tax refunds. He made it seem that it was a deliberate effort on the part of the United Workers' Party government at the time not to give income tax refunds. And so, what did he do? In his attempt to persuade the public to vote for the SLP, he promised the people of St. Lucia that if elected within the first 100 days, and I repeat, the first 100 days, he will refund everyone who is owed $5,000 or less their money. Mr. Pierre, Mr. Pierre, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, where is the income tax refund? Many people from Soufrière and all over this country need that little kakada. They need their refund. And so I urge you, Honorable Prime Minister, to keep your promises to the people of St. Lucia and give the people their money. Give the people of St. Lucia their tax refund money. It's over 100 days. Then again, was it all a bluff? And did we expect him to keep to that promise? The people of St. Lucia know the truth of the answer to that question. Honorable Pierre in the politics made promises that he cannot keep, and this is a stark example of the last 100 days of the Labour Party in government. I am happy to have been part of the last UWP administration that kept its commitment to the people and implemented a historic income support program for over 15,000 displaced workers and another 6,000 self-employed and small business persons, where taxi drivers, vendors, bar owners, and others all benefited. But what did Mr. Pierre say to that? Back in opposition, he said that the $500 a month was not enough. And if elected, an SLP government would give $1,500 a month to the people. He made that statement not once, but at least twice. Why? Because he wanted the votes of the people of St. Lucia, putting politics first, dressed in the campaign language of political promises. What has happened since being in office? St. Lucians all over know what he did. He looked at St. Lucians squarely in the face on national television and radio and vehemently denied ever saying that. But when the tapes were played, he said that's not what he meant. Bluff, 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 and more bluff again from Honorable Pierre, the Honorable Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we have never seen so much lockdown in the first 100 days of any government. Small bars and restaurants have been shut down for weeks. Where is the much needed stimulus for the people, Mr. Prime Minister? Where is the promise of $1,500 for the single mothers and those small struggling vendors, taxi drivers, and bus drivers? Where is the money you promised? Don't the people deserve that money now, as you boldly stated on the campaign trail? The UWP calls on Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre to give the people the money. You are in government. You are not new to governance. You are an experienced politician, an experienced Minister of Government, and you are now the Minister of Finance. We call on you to give the people of St. Lucia their well-deserved $1,500 a month. They need this money to pay their electricity and water bills. They need it to send their children to school. They need it to feed the children. This is not the time for bluff and flashing mirrors. It is time to deliver, and the people are still waiting. Sadly, broken promises have become a fundamental feature of Honorable Philip J. Pierre and his administration. Clearly, the political doctrine of the St. Lucia Labour Party was not about caring for the people. It was not about putting the people first. They are not thinking of the people. They are merely rearranging their partisan prejudices. And how it is clear that the political leopard cannot change its spots of victimization, oppression, ill treatment, abuse, and political favoritism. So believe me when I tell you that this SLP administration has done nothing but sow political seeds of deceit and misery in the last 100 days. It is well known that infertile seeds will not sprout if the soil factors, the political ground temperature, the pH, the salinity, and leadership are not favorable for government's performance to sprout. The UWP gives this government an F grade, a failing grade, in its first 100 days in office.
We taking back we country, we taking back we land. Tell them we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming.